Morning guys, hey, it's Len from Mercury Man Garage and Outdoors. Well, we're outdoors in the wood yard again today. It's a little cooler today, a little breezy, it's beautiful. Therefore, got the hoodie on. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a wimp. What do you do? But anyway, as you saw earlier in this video, we did some wood yard prep. We cleaned up, got everything ready to go for today's project. And that's the maple. So we're going to get going on the maple. So let me show you what I got going on. Stay tuned. All right, well, I fired up my brain a little earlier today to come up with a plan, and this is what it is. I laid out this maple in a spot that hopefully is going to be more shadier, shade abundant. There's more shade, basically. That's what I'm saying. So hopefully it's a little cooler for working. As you can see, I got the hoodie on today, but it's going to be a hot one again today. So that won't be on for very long. So we'll see how this works out. I think it'll be good. I got some dirt on some of these. I got to clean all that off. There's not a lot here. Shouldn't take very long. This is tree service wood that I got. Oh man, a couple months back. It's not the greatest, but there's some nice stuff in here. There's some pretty straight ones. I'll get some nice bundle wood out of this. And, you know, there'll be a lot of boiler wood too. So that's what I use in my pole barn. So let's get going. Oh yeah, and one more thing. Who doesn't love a grapple? Probably one of the best attachments that you can get for a compact tractor. I know, there's more modern ways of marking your wood. Hey, I'm old school, what can I say? And you don't get this cool blue color with those newer gadgets. Derek, this is for you. Okay, I thought I'd stop here for a second and fuel up. And I got a question for you guys. Are those two gonna play well together? That's all Tractor Supply had. Husky oil. What do you think? But anyway, this shady spot's working out. I mean, it's still plenty cool out here, even if it was in the sun, but this is really nice here. And this stuff's cutting up really nice. The chain's getting a little dull. I got some dirt on these logs, but I just got this to go, and a lot of these are smaller ones, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Let's continue. Okay, well, we got it all cut up, and apparently Steel and Husky can play well together, at least so far. All right, guys, well, this spot is working out real good for cutting. This is nice and shady, and it's a little bit cooler here. And as you can see, I'm starting to build up my sawdust base. Hopefully to get to the point where Russ is on his channel. And I'm nowhere near that. I think he said he's got like 6 to 8 inches of sawdust that he can work on, which is nice because you can dig the chain down into the sawdust and not have to worry about hitting dirt. That helps those guys out a lot, especially Gramps, getting down in there because he does most of the cutting. And it's a nice cushion too, I would think, for standing on and walking around. But I got a ways to go to get to that point. And it's nice that I found a good spot to buck up the wood here in the shade. And with that being said, this being maple, I'm building up my maple inventory quite a bit. And as I'll show you here, I just got another load of tree service wood, and it's all maple. So I'm happy to be getting quite a variety of wood going here. I'm on the maple, just got another load of maple, and next we'll be doing hickory. I have not done any hickory yet. I'm glad to have that. Anxious to get going on it and get it drying, because that'll just be for specialty wood, for cooking and smokers and guys that want it for that. And let me see if I can point it out here. But the maple I got cut up, I'll be splitting, and that's going to go in bunker number 2 right there. When that's done, I'll be stacking it in there. And I don't know if you caught that earlier, but if you can see my shirt, it's probably going to be backwards on the screen. New York. And I said, Derek, that's for you. That's Derek Stuff on YouTube. I don't know if you guys have ever checked him out. I'm sure a lot of you have. Great channel, great content, and a great guy. So I suggest you guys check him out. All right, guys, one last thing here. And this idea just came to me as I'm looking at my overflowing pile of cherry here, running from my trailer over to a pallet bin, I guess you'd say, on the ground. And that was all that cherry that I split up in that video, my previous video. And kind of walk around here. Ended up being quite a bit. A lot more than I thought. It was all stacked right here, or piled right here. We got her done. And I'll show you a before picture and an after picture of what it looks like now, or what it looked like then, what it looks like now. But I wouldn't even venture to guess how much I have here. It's got to be a cord, at least, I would think. But I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, how am I going to store this? And what are my options? And, you know, what's a good way to store this? And I'm looking at that trailer, just thrown in there loosely, right off the splitter. And I'm thinking, that might be a good storage bin, just left in the trailer. It's vented on the bottom. The boards, the 2x6s are gapped, so there's airflow. So it'll dry well. And biggest thing is it's mobile. I can move it wherever I want to, and I can pull the pieces out and bundle right from the trailer. It's a low profile trailer. I can reach in there just fine. It tilts. Storage bin. What do you guys think? I might purchase a few more of these style trailers and do that with my specialty wood, because I can see that woodshed filling up real quick with oak and, you know, other various woods that I'll be getting. Plus, I also want to use it for equipment. So my brain's been working on bin storage ideas. You know, guys, you know, you just use pallets and stack on, you know, the wood on the pallets. Jeremiah from outside in the 608, I don't know if you guys have seen his channel, but I recommend him. A lot of you guys have seen him, I'm sure. He's got a corn crib bin that he's using for storage. I think, what a great idea. It's like, that's perfect. But, you know, there's lots of ways I think we could store firewood better. And I don't know that that topic's ever been addressed much on YouTube. You know, people have their ideas, you know, with IBC totes, pallet bins, just, you know, stacking versus piles. I don't know. I'm trying to think of ways to better store firewood. And I think that there's a lot to that could be explored there. And this is one of them I'm thinking of. Just, you know, it's not ideal, but firewood storage is not perfect. It's just how it is. I'm just looking at it from, you know, efficiency and just less touches. And I think doing it this route, for me anyway, for my bundlewood operation, I think this is a great way to go. Biggest thing is it's mobile. I can take that into the pole barn in the wintertime, do my bundles inside. I can take it to a shady spot in the wood yard, do my bundles, and my tractor will pull this easily. My tractor does not pick up an IBC tote, full IBC tote anyway. It won't do it. So, I don't know, what do you guys think? I think there's numerous ways you can improve upon this too and go bigger. You know, I'm thinking like hay wagons with sides. You could dump firewood into a hay wagon with a conveyor. Sky's the limit. And a lot of those hay wagons too have a tilt function where you can tilt it, and that way you can just drop the wood and slide it to the back and grab it easier. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know. And of course, you got the tried and true woodshed for firewood storage. Been around a long time. Works really well. It's a space saver. Looks nice. And it's a great way to go too for storing firewood. Many ways to do it. Most of them are home remedy ideas, home, you know, thought of. Don't really see anything from manufacturers that help us out. And I think the sky's the limit with, you know, the manufacturers coming up with something to help us store firewood, because firewood's getting big and it's getting pretty popular as a choice for heating your home and, you know, for pleasure, for cooking. And I think, you know, we got these fancy splitters and processors and chainsaws, which is nice. It helps out a lot with speed and efficiency. Haven't really seen much about storage from a manufacturing standpoint. So just some thoughts, guys. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for today. Just some things I've been thinking about for a while is, you know, firewood storage and some ideas that we could come up with, manufacturers could come up with for helping us out with that. I really like Jeremiah's idea with the corn crib. I think that's a great idea. I suggest you check his channel out too, along with Derek's stuff. Both those guys have great channels, great content, and some very cool ideas on storing firewood. And I think Jeremiah is onto something there with that corn crib. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Please subscribe, give me a like, leave a comment, and remember, find your thing. Have a good one.